just been to the shops to get some coffee beans and coconut yogurt, essentials that we need for a dairy-free child and a sleep-deprived mother. I've been reflecting recently, and as much as I love being a mum, there is one thing that I was not prepared for, and that is the absolute overstimulation and sensory overload that you experience as a mother, particularly when you're going from that jump from 1 to 2 children, if you've got a toddler and a newborn. But I might move. Let's go inside because it's actually really hot here today. It's over 40 degrees, so we'll get inside and chat more there. Nora, did you miss us? Biggest gripe, they had no natural coconut yogurt. Yesterday Aldi had none as well. Today we just went RGA. Bag is deceptive, but this is literally all I could get my hands on. So annoying. Other gripe with coconut yogurt is that only the pouches are fortified with calcium, which is something that you want for a dairy-free child. We are lucky in the fact that we are currently working through the ladder and he can have dairy when it's cooked in foods or baking, so not as bad for us. But yeah, super annoying. Fortify them all with calcium would be a great option. So yeah, back to what we were chatting about, how motherhood, the one thing that I wasn't prepared for was the overstimulation and sensory overload. I feel like we're always told about how there's going to be so many to-do lists, the sleep deprivation, how you're not going to be feeling like yourself, but no one really warns you about this. And I suppose it's not relevant to all mums, but it is definitely a huge thing for me. I mean, yeah, especially when your baby's crying, you've got your toddler screaming or wanting to play with you, or, you know, both of them wanting to be on you, or you're breastfeeding and your toddler's on you and it's hot and there's all these noises. And yeah, you just get overwhelmed. There's just no point in your day where it's just you or just quiet. And that's probably the thing that I've struggled with the most, I would say. Motherhood is not just physically demanding, it is mentally demanding and demands all of your senses all of the time. And I feel like in your postpartum period, all your senses are heightened. Your sense of smell, your sense of hearing, everything, because you're looking after that new baby and your primitive, response to absolutely care and protect them at all costs. For me personally, I have probably been a highly sensitive person my whole life to sensory input as it is. I remember just the noises of people eating used to frustrate me, and that is at least something I have not been so particular about since becoming a mother, because you can't control the absolute chewing of your toddler. You kind of just have to roll with it a bit more. But yeah, my best friend will tell you this story of she decided to be crunching a carrot at 6 a.m. before we're going to do some exercise, and I was so angry, so irrationally angry at the sensory overload of that noise of a carrot being chewed in my ear. So for me, motherhood is forever overloading my senses, but it is slowly getting better. I feel like it is the worst when you've got your newborn and toddler at the same time and you're running on very low sleep, because we all need sleep to cope, and when you're so low on sleep, your coping mechanisms a lot lower and your anxieties are a lot higher. I think one of the reasons we don't talk about it enough is because if we're seen to not be enjoying every single moment of motherhood, whether it's your children's cuddles, you know, their embraces, their want to be with their mum, then we're gonna be perceived as ungrateful or, you know, not being thankful enough for being a parent, where that is not true. If we spoke about it more, then we could help each other out with, you know, ideas for what to put in place to help us cope with the additional sensory overloads and pressures of motherhood. Because for me, it's not just like the noise and the chaos, it's that mental load of having to sort out the problems that come with the tantrums or the crying, and it's the constant juggling of, oh, whose cry should I deal with first, and what do I need to do next in order to keep the household running and safe and happy and healthy. And at the end of the day, that can be very, very draining. So I just wanted to put that out there today. If you're also feeling that in your postpartum period you are extra stimulated or overwhelmed with the weight of all the tantrums and cries, I also am right here with you. And I thought I'd just share a few things that have helped me reduce the overwhelm that has come with it. And number one would be, whenever possible, carving out some time for myself in the week. In the early days, this is very difficult because, you know, the newborn is very dependent on you, particularly if you are breastfeeding. But as I'm nearing more and more towards that 1 year mark, I'm getting more and more sleep, which I do not run well on low sleep. So if you're like me, yeah, once you're getting a bit more better sleep, I can deal with 1 to 2 wake ups a night. Oh, that is a dream. But when I was waking up every hour, I was a shell of myself and I was not running at my best version of myself. No one does with that little sleep. But now I'm able to try and carve out some time for myself, and that's a part of what this 30-day challenge for me is. I'm carving out some time to myself so that I am the best possible mother I can be, and it's going for a walk by myself, a run by myself, doing an activity that I enjoy by myself to decrease that sensory input. I love going for a walk with the dog with no music and no podcast on. In nature, I just recommend it. Give it a go today if you're feeling extra overwhelmed. And, you know, if you've got the baby in the pram, you will still feel good getting outside with no additional noise coming at you and no getting held. Another tip is sometimes I'll just take the toddler and newborn for a drive because they're strapped in, they're safe, and they're often quiet. For me, I'm lucky and fortunate that my baby enjoys going in the car, so it's not a stressful experience. And sometimes we won't even get out and go to the shops, to be honest, because that can make me more overwhelmed. I just go for a bit of a drive, and it's a time where you can literally just not be touched or deal with tantrums, and you can listen to your podcast in peace. And often I time it and then they both fall asleep. So it's a bit of a winner. Another thing that has helped for me is just asking for support in whatever capacity you have possible. So, you know, it's once if you're finding it really difficult to get the baby to sleep and nothing's working for you, tap out and swap with your partner. If you're having a really rough day, call on any friends or relatives. For me, I've got my mother-in-law, so that's who I often call on to help me out with the kids. Or you could, call on your mother's group, anything that works for you. And that's something I probably need to do more of. I have found this year I probably haven't been as social as I would have liked, but in this 2025 period, I definitely want to get back out there and make those mum connections again. I've got a good mothers group that I need to reconnect with. The last tip would be, and it's hard in the thick of it because you're just getting through the motions, but decluttering your environment can help declutter your mind as well. And I am fortunate that my partner is a very clean, neat person, and he does the majority of the cleaning and tidying in our house. I am definitely the messier of the two for sure, but when our house is tidy and clean, then I feel like both our minds are more tidy and can think a bit straighter, and that's when we parent best together as well. And otherwise, just know that this too shall pass. It's a phase that is very, very tricky, and I've got to say, as I get closer to that 1 year mark, I'm very happy to be kind of nearing the end of that little era in some regards. In some ways, I'm so sad that it's gone so fast second time around, but yeah, I'm so glad to be getting more sleep and having the ability to do a bit more for myself. But yeah, I would love to know if anyone else has experienced this in their postpartum period. If you've got any additional tips, I would love to hear them. And yeah, otherwise, speak soon. And I look forward to our next cuppa over YouTube together.